Paul, we're going to talk now about some of the basics. This is like the book that my wife got me when we had our first baby, What to Expect When You're Expecting, right? So let's say I'm an O365 organization. I'm using, Exchange, through Microsoft's cloud and those sorts of things. And I want to do this. You mentioned there's a freemium version with over 80 controls or checks that we're going to do on my tenant, my environment. And then we have a premium version, which you can consume and pay for either in a one-time fashion or a monthly kind of, as a service model. But let's just tell the audience here, because I'm getting questions about where do I find it? Somebody just pasted the link into GitHub, which is great, that they know how to use Google. But the point is let's give the audience a little bit of awareness on not only how they should break this down, what are they going to need, credentials, can I do it alone if I'm just a script kiddie that just got my PowerShell 101 book, what to know kind of thing. How long does it take? Is it something I can set up to run constantly? Those sorts of things. And then again, back to the basics. Where do I even find this thing? Because believe it or not, some of the people that are tuning in here aren't like you, Paul. They don't participate in the bowels of the interwebs, right? And they don't know about all these things. And downloading an instruction, a README, something like that, that I know that you guys are continuing to work on to bolster and make better, is daunting to some people, right? Is this just like an executable that I click on and it installs on my machine and I put my credentials in, or are there like crazy things that I have to have? So let's talk about that. So let's go from the bottom up on this one. Where do I find it? Where's the latest version? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So to start out with, where do you find it? GitHub.com/soteria-security/365inspect should take you there, or you can always Google 365 inspect and it should come up pretty quickly. As far as the how long should I expect it to take and what does it take to do it, the answer, as all things in security in life, is it depends. But it really depends on how large your organization is, how large your tenant is in 365. It can take anywhere between a couple of minutes to a couple of hours for very large organizations. And from a
And that's from the time I actually download the actual application itself or the script set itself to when I'm getting results, or is there 3 weeks worth of work that I have to do prior to that?
Now, from the time you download it to
Okay.
you have
Okay.
controls. And it's
Great.
Soteria-security, not /security in that one.
Thank you.
But as far as how to operate it, you do need to have some level of comfort with PowerShell. You don't have to be a wizard, but you certainly need to be able to navigate the PowerShell command line or the script interpreter. You can use the ISE or whatever you want to do. But you do need to have that. And if you go to the site, to the GitHub page where this is hosted, there's a pretty detailed walkthrough on how to use it. It talks through, there's some modules you're going to have to install because PowerShell needs to be able to interact with your Microsoft 365 environment. You will need to be running this with some level of administrator permission. So usually like a global administrator if you want all the inspectors to run, and I believe SharePoint administrator as well. Because you need to have access into all these settings across the entire tenant. So it does require a fair bit of admin permissions that you'll be prompted to log into your Microsoft 365 account as you run it. And you'll need to be able to install modules on your local system. So you'll have to have the correct level of permissions on your local system to install those PowerShell modules. And I'll say that stuff is listed out on the page. And if it's not clear or there's questions, or you have suggestions on how to make it clearer, it's even better, right? Don't come with problems, come with solutions, as we always say. Then we're always open to any suggestions on how we can improve that and make it clearer for folks.
Great. And then my last question here, and I've taken some notes and provided the resources, and we'll put the link in the show notes here. But when we talk about 80 controls, do I like menu check these ones, or should I chunk up the discovery and do a segment at a time, or is it all or nothing and I need to let all of the scripts run? Can I just let me give you a further down the road example. Let's say I find something that needs to be remediated. and I just want to run that one module after I've applied my controls and I want to validate that. Can I select just that one segment of the tool, or is it an all or nothing thing?
Yeah, you can via the command line. You can specify particular what we call inspectors, which are effectively modules within this, or things that we're looking at. So you can
Okay.
specify on the command line, I only want to run these inspectors, right? If you want to limit that, or you can also do the opposite, where you can say I want to run everything but these inspectors, and do kind of a negative type of view on that. So there is some granularity there. Also, if you really want to get your hands dirty, you can copy an existing inspector and write your own to look at different aspects of it, and
Okay.
create an output, or simply go and delete the ones that you don't care about if if you're not interested in doing those.
If you want to.
Yeah.
Okay, so this thing's malleable, it's able to be tweaked. Here's the biggest question, Paul, that you're going to get asked this week. Could Jesse White, your host, run one of these successfully?
I think you can do anything you put your mind to, Jesse.
There it is.
No,
Back to the psychology track. Give me an honest answer. I mean,
no,
do I need to be like I mean, I know how to like map a UNC drive, whack. I don't even know if we still use SIFs or SMB in the world today. But the point is like sometimes people don't know some of these things, and I want to make sure we're giving this, like, it's kind of like when I watch a YouTube to, the difference between adding another line to my natural gas versus adding an outlet, right? There's catastrophic and calamities that could happen on either, but one, I could die and not even know it. One, I'm gonna probably just get bit and be okay. Which one is this? Is this can I screw anything up? Is it easy to do? That's really the body of the question.
yeah, I will say that I happen to know that you use a MacBook for your day-to-day driving, so you do have to run this from a Windows machine.
Okay.
Outside of that, I've tried to do it with PowerShell for Mac, and it almost works, but it doesn't, because some of the Microsoft 365 integrations don't work with the Mac libraries. But I think you could, and but more importantly, you could try. And there's nothing in here that actually changes anything in your environment. It's all inspecting.
Okay.
It's not changing or modifying anything, so you're not going to break anything. So worst case is, you might get a little bit frustrated if it doesn't work. But I think I do have faith in you and believe you'd be able to to run it just fine.
All right. The harder question: could Glenn Starkman run this tool?
That's
There's my answer. There's my answer. I'll make sure that segment of this recording makes it out to the World Wide Web.
all right, Glenn.